Hi everyone, this is Dee with the Paper Drawer. I wanted to share with you today bleeding tissue. I'll show you how it's done, how I do it, and how to get a few little different results. I kind of just experimented with it. I like the results, so I'll share that with you how I did it. But these are some examples. One thing nice that I love about this is you have no control over it. However it turns out, and I really like that about it. I really think they turn out really pretty. I do try and use every bit of the tissue till there's no more color in it. That's this example. It's usually at the end of the pan, bottom of the pan. But it's pretty fun, actually. I've used copy paper, I've used deli paper, tracing paper. Those are about the only three that I've used. But I love when the paper gets wet. It changes the fibers in it on copy paper. And you get the wrinkles and all sorts of things in them, and I really like that. So these are just a few examples of the ones that I've done. I'm not sure I can get the same effect, but I'll show you how I did that. Some of them are bright, some of them are a little dull because it's towards the end of the pan after all the other papers have been soaked up. But it's pretty neat, the results that you get. So let me put this up. These were just some that I've done. And let me show you how it's done. I've actually done some on my little drawing board already. But let me just show you. So I basically just, maybe this way, get a pan. This is a pan from my kitchen, but now it's become a pan for my workroom. So it's just a Pyrex dish. So what I do is I just spray the bottom with water. Okay. And then the paper I get is off of Amazon. And I make a big old mess when I do it. But it's called Spectra Art Tissue. You've got to make sure that it says bleeding tissue, because regular tissue paper probably will not bleed and give you this color. There's 25 colors in this package, and there's 100 sheets. And how it comes is it comes flat in this bag, okay? And what you want to do is you want to tear it up. They don't have to be real small pieces, but to get a variety of colors, you need to tear them up because you don't want a page all one color. You can experiment. You might want to do one whole page orange and then add purple or something, bits here and there. I've never done that, but I like the variety. So once you spray your pan, just start picking out your tissue and laying it in the bottom. Doesn't have to be perfect, but once it touches the water, it's going to start bleeding. And of course, that's what you want. So I just kind of lay in any colors that I want. Just here and there. This is just cut kind of not in strips, not perfect or anything. I just lay them in there. Here's a blue. Here's a light purple. I try and cover all the little areas too. Won't use black. Here, I'll use this red, but I just need a little piece of it right here. So let's say that that's it. And I'll give it one more spray of water. And then I'll do deli paper first. I just get my deli paper. And what I'll do is I'll just lay it in the pan. This is not quite the full length of it, but that's okay. That'll still do. Okay. And if you see, like right here, it's not colored or there's nothing there, then you can just lift this and lay a piece in there. Okay. And just spray it with a little bit of water so it'll bleed, okay? Then I do several layers actually. So I'll just keep layering paper, tissue, okay, in it. Let's do some greens. It does stain your fingertips, but I think the baby wipe will take those off. I can't remember. It's been a while since I've done this because I've got so much of it that I just kind of hoard. But just keep layering your tissue, okay? When you get it all layered, spray it again. And you can see it's starting to bleed. So grab another deli paper or whatever kind of paper you want and lay it in there. And I just kind of use my hand and kind of just smash it down. Okay, and you can see that it's bleeding. The color's just running. Okay. I'll do 3 layers this time. So I'll use green. I'll use 2 different color blues. And then a turquoise. And I'll just lay them in there. Okay. Got a little bit of space, so I'll just cut this, lay it in that corner. Here's a little purple. I'll lay it here. I got a little space here. I'll just lay that again. So the pan's covered with the tissue. Just get your water, spray it again. And you can see it starting to bleed. I'll use copy paper this time. So just get a piece of copy paper, lay it in, and just kind of smash it down. And you can see the color coming through on it, and that's fine. What you can do to make it bleed a little bit more is wet this top paper. Okay. I just let it sit a minute. Then what I do is, I've done some already today, but I've got this really ugly piece of cardboard I've had for years. I coffee dye on it, and it picks up this pattern, which I love. But I just lay this on this cardboard. These are some that I've already done, okay? I'm just going to lay these that I just did right on top, because it doesn't matter. It's going to bleed, and that's okay. It can make the color that I have on this cardboard, you know, more intense. So just pick up the corner. If you pick up the tissue paper, that's okay. But this one I'm not going to pick up. This is just paper. So I'm just going to throw it on the cardboard and let it dry. And sometimes what I'll do, so I can keep getting color, and I try and get all the color I can off of this or out of the tissue, I'll just put another piece of paper in, wet it, and see if I can pick up more color so I get all the color I can off the tissue. Okay, so I do this. Okay, the paper's pretty wet, and then I just peel it back. And that's what this one looks like. I really like that. I love this area here. Okay. If you want the edges, just put the edge in and just wet that edge. Be careful because the paper's pretty wet and you probably will tear it. So you want to be careful. Again, I don't mind the edges that way because I'll cut it off when I use it. I don't need every single edge colored. So I just drape it on my board like this. Just, and it's stacked. Again, it's bleeding tissue. It doesn't matter. So I can pick up this next layer. Look how dark that is. Okay, but look at how cool it is. When it dries, it's probably going to dry a little bit lighter. This has the tissue on it still. That's fine. You can just leave it. Don't bother pulling it off. But let it dry with it on there. I just throw it on the board. And this is the last one. And like I said, what I normally try and do is I try and just pick up as much color. The one I just put on, this one, I could have left it in. And I could have probably picked up more color, but I'm going to show you that you can keep getting color after color and try and get as much off these tissue papers that you can. by just wetting it again, and you'll see the color fade off the tissue, and then you'll have no more color. This is very, very faint, but it's going to be really pretty when it dries. Okay, so the tissue paper is just about out of color. Okay, but that's going to be pretty when it dries. Again, it's just a faint color. So what you want to do is on this last one, pick it up. You may be dragging that bottom paper. That's okay. Just leave it. Okay, just let it dry that way. Throw it on the board. This is what my board looks like. It's just got a mishmash of it laid on top of one another, and I'm okay with that. So what I'll do normally, let me move this board down. What I'll do normally is on this last piece, I just usually get a piece of copy paper. I might wet it just to see how much color I can get off of it. And look, I can get more color off of it. And I'm okay with this. Again, I can just keep wetting it and trying to get all the edges colored. But again, I'm not too concerned about that. And what you can do is you can just pick this up. It's all almost as one. Then I just throw it on a piece of paper and I let it dry. Okay. Let me show you how I get one effect that I think is kind of interesting. Is I'll take the bleeding tissue, and what I'll do is I'll just crumple it. Okay. Not real tight. So I'll just do this, and I'll just kind of do a random thing in the pan here and there, just, you know, crinkling the tissue, balling it up. Let's see, here's turquoise. These will bleed together, so you don't have to really worry about spacing and so forth. But I try and get as much covered that I can. So I just ball these up. That's what it looks like. Okay. Then what I'll do is I'll come in with my water and I'll wet it. And just leave those all crumpled up. Don't do anything with them. That's what it's going to look like. Then come in with your paper. Let's see if I have a larger one. Come in with your paper and just smash it down. Then what happens with the paper is you get the wrinkle. Let me show you. I just kind of played around with this, and this happened, and I really liked how it looked. And let's see how it turned out. Yeah. What happens is you get this look here. This look here. This is kind of spotty, so what you can always do is put it back down, and you can, you know, add more water. You can fill in a little bit more of the spaces. If you crumple more, the better. Then you won't have so many white spaces. I'll sometimes fill the pan with it just crumpled up. Okay, but that's how you get the little white spaces and so forth. And I think you can see better on copy paper, but let me do this. Let me try and fill that pan a little bit more with just crinkled, you know, balled up ones. And that's fine. It's red, that's fine. And I have some bigger pieces for this type of thing that I just want to ball up. Again, don't ball it up tight. Just, you know, kind of crinkle it and just throw it in there. And I try and cover all the bare spots. I'm not sure how much this is going to pick up, but it should, because I just used one sheet of paper. or deli paper. So this should still have some color, enough color in it where it should pick something up. So I'll just do this. Okay, and I make sure that, you know, most of the areas are covered. And I come in with my water. And what you could do too, two different ways. You can wet this, or you can put the paper in and then wet the paper. But I think it might work better if you wet the tissue first and then just come in with your paper and smash it down. Okay. Now, I'm not going to wet the paper on this one. You can, and if you see it's a little dry, like right there, just spray it with water, and it'll pick up, it'll bleed that tissue. Okay, same with this corner. It's just a little dry, just spray it, and there you go. Okay. So that looks pretty good. And that may be exactly how it turns out. Look at my hands. So, go ahead and lift it. And there you have it. I love that look. Again, it's all just crumpling up paper and just setting your copy paper. I like to do it on copy paper. Let me try it on deli paper. I've done it on deli paper too, but let's see if I can pick up more color and use all the color I can off this. So I just spray it down with water again, get my paper, and I just go ahead and kind of mush it down into the pan. And I can see that I'm going to get, I think, some good results on this one. Okay. So that's that. I'm not going to spray this paper too much. I can, but you really don't need to. So I'm going to pull this paper up. And that's the effect you'll get. The paper wrinkles, so that's okay. I love this area here. And when it dries, it'll even look better. Okay, so that's how you get that look. So what I'll do is, I'll keep wetting this because I want to get as much color as I can out of this tissue paper. And I really like doing it on copy paper because it seems to take the crinkle of the tissue paper a little bit better. So I like using copy paper towards the end of it. But this really isn't the end. Look how dark that is. So you can come up and you can see better with copy paper, you know, what happens. And even this side looks good. So that's that. I'm going to keep going with this, but let me show you one other thing. The tissue paper gets stuck on the paper. Like when I lift this one up, this all may come up with the paper, which is fine. It dries with it on it, and then you just peel it off. And this is what peels off the paper after it dries. It's the tissue. But all the color's just about out of it. But you can use this for collaging. You can use it as backgrounds. And you can even crumple it up again. And you got even more little creases and things on it. So that's the end result of the bleeding tissue. And you can use every bit of the bleeding tissue. And I just stick mine in a mason jar and then I pull it out as I need it. And then it just sits on my shelf. So that's bleeding tissue. It's a lot of fun. It's a little messy. I don't have a, oh, here, I have a baby wipe here. Let me see if it comes off. Like I said, I can't recall. I might have to take it off with, yeah, some of it will come off. I think I wore gloves the last time I did it. But yeah, it'll come off. It'll come off too when you shower. Maybe a good bar of soap too. It'll come off. But your hand, of course, will stain. But I usually am pretty fussy with that, guys. But this time it was just fun. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you'll try it. It's a lot of fun. Thanks for watching.